So today I'm going to read The Dreamer by Pam Minus Ryan and Peter Sis. Vagoon. Nastala woke from the same nightmare every morning for the next week. Dorita was drowning, and he could not save her because he was drowning too. The horrible sickness plagued him. Even he ate breakfast, but he was swimming suit and he walked in the beach. Naftali wondered if the beachcombers they passed each morning puzzled over their strange parade, a cheerful whistling and man followed by summer boy, a weeping girl, and a joyful woman who walked behind as if nothing was wrong. Naftali rested shouted him, preventing from the speaking to my mother or father, except to answer the direct questions. His supporters came along too. As soon as the tortoise swim in the ocean was over, Naftali strode back to the house, changed from his swimming suit, and set out on his own. He was determined to do as he pleased. On a cliff overlooking the ocean, he daydreamed on purpose. He was a flamingo at the edge of the salt marsh, living like a giant kite. He was a banished seagull. He was a swan whose curious body seemed white in a mirror. When he wasn't daydreaming, he read on purpose. Until he had finished all the books he had brought with him. With the rest of the summer left, he would need to find more. One afternoon, he walked from a small town and asked the shopkeeper about a location from the library. The shopkeeper pointed him toward the lane that ended at the summons home, thinking the shopkeeper had misunderstood. Naftali asked a woman passing through the street. She smiled and pointed at the same house. As Naftali stood waiting on the front path, wondering how the library could be summoned home, the door was flung open and a bell tied of a dormant jingle. A small man wanting of Naftali's grandfather, bounding down to the steps. Come in, he called. The man started to be like his father's, but it was not much gray, and the eyes were danced. He ushered Naftali through a small room, while sawdust blanket from the floor. I am a ghost too, the librarian. Naftali held out his hand. I'm Naftali. I'm only the visitor for the summer. A ghost grabbed Naftali's hand in both of his. It is of no matter. Any time as best as time for books. No? Naftali nodded. A ghost pulled him closer to the stacking bookshelves. What if they may interest you? Do you like mystery? Do you like a symphony of language? Naftali smiled and nodded of the broad accounts. Have you already called Joe and Speedy? Naftali nodded again. But I could read him more than once. And do you know the character Buffalo Bill? Asked Augusto. Naftali's eye brightened then called. Yes, he was just a great horseman. But I did not like how it treated like Indians. Oh, you would consider this reader with taste for adventure. Augusto stepped to the wall of the books. He pulled out 2 volumes and appeared to be the reader was such younger, and Naftali has summons much older. It is never too late for this one, said Augusto, handing him an illustrated picture book of Greek myth. Then he handed him the Study in Sculpture by Arthur Kenneth Dole. And it is never too old for this one. The front door opened and the bell announced another patron. Come in, said Augusto, lifting the Naftali with the books. Naftali went his fingers over the covers. His eyes scanned over the status yet cozy room. He did not care about squandering good weather by staying indoors. He did not care if the reading did not make leg muscles stronger. He did not care if the pastime did increase the appetite. He crawled up the chair and read all afternoon. It wasn't a sun was low enough to stream through the window hit him in the eyes. He realized he needed back hat to the summer house. He returned his books on the shelves and paused to the front of the bookcase, his eyes sweeping down 4 of his obvious names: Hugo Savins, Kenneth Dole, Bernardet, Verneau, Tolstoy, Avon, Eberny. Augusto stood at his desk where he went the reading would come up to Naftali. What is the matter with young man? Do you need help? Why do you look so frightened? Naftali sighed. How will I ever read of those books in one summer? Augusto laughed. There is always time for that which truly important. If not that summer, then another. He pulled 4 books of the shelf and held them out to him. I am only open a few afternoons a week. I hope that you will feed you until next time. Naphtali looked at the books and smiled. Thank you, but I cannot take them. My father, he does not take like me to read when I could be outside, and in the evening there is a little light in the house. Oh, I understand, said Goso. I had the father to the same mind. He took in his window and looked out. He turned back to Naphtali and held on one finger. What you need is an asset, a hideout. Naphtali's head brightened. A ghost dolphin had come to the window. He pointed outside on the road bordered by trees. A mile down, there's only abandoned cottages that might serve you. He held the 4 books out to Naphtali. But what if someone comes? He said to Naphtali. Although there was no one else in the room, a ghost cupped a hand through the mouth of telling secret. It belongs to me, but I'm no longer to use it. I live here now. He swept his arm toward the shelves with a neighbor to beside among pages. Naphtali bit along the lift and considered to the offer. He nodded and took the books. Thank you. He hurried to the book and belled on the door jingling behind him. Outside, he leaped down the path and turned away through grinning a ghost at the window. Alongside of the road, the trees eventually gave way to the tall sea grass and grass to rocky dirt and now lodgings. Naphtali finally came to the dirt drive. The land scooped downward toward a white static cottage being on the harness skulkle and gone to the speed. He ran down the path and jumped into the porch, arriving breathless. Unconsidered, he's hid out. Though his windows and doors were boarded out and locked, and the porch was deep and covered. Near the door, a long wooden box hoggled at the wall. He lifted a lid to find a few old buckets and golden tools. The books would be safe and dry there. Agoso had been right. This place was perfect. A circle and small house behind it is a burst of color appeared from the puppets. Blood red, white, purple, black, and orange, moving in the width of the overgrown golden. In the middle of the puppets, a old rowboat went to pieces. Naphtali ran to the landlord's shop, raises his hands above his head, jumping in the air, and climbed as he down. How could one little piece of earth that fill him with such joy? Behind the garden, a narrow path stretched toward the lagoon. Naphtali hurried down the river, then wheeled the black-necked swan scaled in the middle. As he approached it, they turned and paddled up towards him, and their long necks stretching out on both and grew impatient. So then, Mr. and Mrs. Swan, some of you treated your pets, no? And you are expected but a food. The swans came in a hollow whizzing sound. Tomorrow, he promised. He will be back tomorrow. If that was Kim certain. As the window east towards the horizon, Naphtali headed back to the summer house. In the warning light, he ran towards his bidding. My books, my cotters, my swans. My books, my cotters, my swans. He could not wait to return tomorrow. Now, if you only the table cut is a secret. From what's where the walls of the sun to rebuild, and there was a bit of a prison. The next day, the mini swim was over. Naphtali hurried back to summer house to change half the leafy coats before the others arrived. In the rustic's kitchen, he quickly stuffed his bags in the pockets and scooped at the door, and he was face to face with Rhoda. He looked back at Mom and Madra and Father slowly make her way down the hill. Why are you back so soon? He asked. Don't you usually stay and play in the village? I was cold and I wanted to go home. Where are you going? Just exploring, he said, avoiding his eyes. I want to come with you, she pleaded. Potiphar. It is no belonging here. Every day I must go to the market with Mom Madra. Then I must take a bath. And then I must play alone and not make a role that I will take a coffee. Then Naphtali interrupted her. Maybe some of the time, for now I'm busy, and ran off, glancing over the shoulder to make sure that Lolita had stayed behind. He stood in your house watching him and shoulders were sagging. It was only the easier the next afternoon. The minute Naphtali left his bed, Lolita ran over to him and waited down to change their clothes quickly as he did. Naphtali, yeah, she whined, watching him to the kitchen. Why do you just stuff them in the pockets? And that is why been a few shots. She lifted shirt's tail. It is on sheep. Why are you all taking out? They're all. Where are you going? I promised to go back on the next thing to take with you. He ignored her and pushed down out the door, but she followed him. Abruptly, she turned. Lolita, go back! As he even stopped her, he dropped her hat, burned around, and walked back to the house. The shoulders shook, and then Naphtali showed he was crying. Gil tugged at him, but if he took her, there were only a chance might accidentally tell my magical father about cottage with the books. He did not want me discovered to make forbidden, and it was not too great responsibility of Lolita either. By the end of the week, Lolita did not even ask to come along. She just cheerfully watched him go. When Naphtali reached back the edge of the lagoon, the swans waited. They tossed it back to him and they would busily read from each piece. I have a secret to tell you. Lolita follows me. I saw her. She does not have to be in the cottage though. She only comes to the door drive and the wind goes away. Do not worry. She cannot see much from there, and she could not be betrayed on purpose. Naphtali sat down in the bank, and there was a morning swim. Does not get better. When I awake, my stomach should already sick with me. Lolita cannot swim well, and I worry the loads of great waves. I love sitting on the sand and watching the sea collecting what is on the shore. But I do not like when the world's water is so dark. I cannot see below how quickly it changes. It's mine to send me one way or the other. Do you want to know another secret? I always think that I am going to die. The two swans pointed at each other's long necks. Both say I'll get stronger, but I do not. And that's making him angry every day. When I finally come out of the waves, I'm shaking and blue on the cold. I even away from a blanket over myself so that father can see my shuddering, but it does not good. It does no good. The mattress says nothing, and which makes me angry and only talk when I must. I do not even want to be with them. I am happiest when I here with you. Naphtali picked up the brood of the gozer and left the day before. She lay back on the bank and held it above his head. Now, are you ready for the heel the little victor married to her go? Listen to this, my friends. My love floated over with the wings when the boy stopped for his throat and caged in a rude thresh mesh, and feed them with my breakfast roll so that his friend fragile on the wall. They barely filled, and then I could flush her back in the fetus cold. The flawless stand back and chosen reminder of the bride of the lagoon. I will fed you memorize breakfast roll and help you to feel reflate too. We'll come back to my call. The swan swam to his offering and then rushed back to normal. Do not speak greedy, said Naphtali, and stay in the shadows of the bank. A ghost said there was only hunters who would ride them here and would kill who they could. And for what purpose? She would make a power to craft you down, or decorate silly hat with long feathers. Naphtali watched them to making us swimming together, as if one their shadow and win the other. You are best friends. Yes, always together. I am only a little jealous. She leaned back and listened to the water birds, the scratch of the seagulls, and swimming big throated comets, and the snow family chim of the swans. My swans, is a mature, they say. Do not know what a lunch or delicacy in the woods was the last song before you died. No, do not tell me what answers that. It was no can live with no way. Hiding in tall grass, my friends, no one can find you. The Charlie walked back in the cottage and seeing on the porch solving his summer museum. Fish bones, shells, croco, sea glass, mother of pearl, and eventually. I all arranged for my makeshift shelf of old wooden birds attached on the rocks. Contented what everything is one is in place, he leaned against the porch post and continued reading. A few weeks later, when Natali reached back the edge of the lagoon, he waved his arms. My friends, I am here. Where are you? He threw a few pieces of the bread in the water, but it was trying to mess and the worse in sink. He called again and the water whistled. The swamps did not come. The lagoon was strangely quiet, and the gold of the Coleman's pens was disappeared. Then Natali started back, pushing the aside of the tall grass. She stalked up a meter of the salt smush. He tried to convince himself that this one was safe. Maybe whoever that had once was feed them had to come back. Maybe there was no bagging the another property. He decided to walk down the house in the distance the exit last once. He turned into the lane and sure that was where it led. It was there to now show the trail of his brother, shrinking the feelings of both of them. He heard the rustling of the basin and turned towards it. In the middle of the muddy of seats, the maelstrom wobbled, blood pooled beneath them. For a moment, Naftali's stomach felt as it might be in trouble and sweat, but the superior wine from the source had stayed in him. Naftali stepped back closer and frankly absolved from the swan's mate. But she was nowhere. Gently, he stopped at a limb with an almost boat that was no weapon to resist. Naftali strode back to carry them toward the cottage. The swan felt heavy because of the weight of Naftali's hurt. He laid the swan on the perch, took a bucket from the storage bench, and fenced water from the lagoon. Then he blotted the gas with the corner of his shorts. Though his voice took, Mr. Zine, my swan. Whoever do this in your bob rain. The solar shook back from the bird's neck. The hunters killed her, didn't they? She laid on the hand of the bird's back. You must eat or you will die too. He reached to the pocket and pulled out a bit of fat and bread and gently nudged them between the swan's orange beak. As the afternoon was gone, Natali could not bear any idea of leaving the swan, but he did not come back in the house on time. He could not imagine what father might do or forbid him to do. He stayed when the swans on the wall. The sun was nothing more than dot on the horizon, then raced back to the summer house. He approached the sea. He saw Lolita playing outside. He stopped and squinted in. Then he pointed on the chest. What happened, Naftali? Are you hurt? Naftali looked down. His shirt was covered in blood. He groaned. No, I am fine. Frantically, he looked around. Where are my mother and father? Inside, but my mother, Lolita continued to point of a bloody shirt. Lolita, this is not my blood. This is on the blood of swan. I need you to help me. Help me, you do what? Can sneak you out of the house quickly and bring me a clean shirt? He nodded. She nodded. Do not tell my mother and father about the blood. Lolita hesitated. I won't help it. If you only to take it with you tomorrow. Natali ran the finger through the hair. I will have your ask permission, and the father might say no. But she will say a polite way. Natali said, okay then now hurry. She waited as Lolita skipped into the house. A few minutes later, he turned out to a clean shirt. He took him about bloody one and heat out the strings of the dress and restaurants. As the two walked away to the house, and the mother had father met him. But we'll only come to the dinner soon, said my mother. Wash your hands, said father, acting as nothing unusual that happened. Naftali and Lolita washed back their hands together in the sink. Like a permit and the conspirator, Lolita caught on when Agnes smiled. Thank you, he whispered, praying that Lolita would continue sympathetic and not to turn Kermita a tattletale. The next morning on the bench, as soon as the stream in the house behind them, Naftali grabbed Lolita's hand and stood in front of mother and the madre. Can Lolita come with me today? There is a flamingo nest and a waltz that I would like to see. I prepare myself to watch her. Be sure to stay there close to you, said father. And do not wait so long to return to the house. Last night you were much too late. I do not want to come looking for two of you. Naftali made a mental note to leave the cottage well before sunset. He held Lolita's hand and walked away calmly on the boat of the hill. When they were out of the parents' side, Lolita pulled down her hand from his jumping out to the down. Calm down, Lolita, and listen. When we record the house, to change your clothes and then find some old rags and blanket. I will get bread from the kitchen. What are they for? I'll explain everything that you will on the way. right now we must hurry. While they became in a road towards the cottage, Naphtali told Lolita everything about a ghost in the hideout and the lagoon and swims and the hunters. Every few moments, Naphtali paused and said, "And now you must not tell anyone." Each time Lolita nodded earnestly. Before then, they arrived at the porch and laid eggs on the swamp. Lolita flung up his hands and repeated over and over, "Pariente, poor bicho, poor thing, poor thing." Naphtali could the stream had left them, and the binder heap of the porch with his eyes closed. Lolita hovered him. Lolita hovered over him. "He is not dead, is he? Is he?" Naphtali reached back and stroked his neck. "No, just sleeping." At the thought, the swan's eyes opened and he trembled. Then she tried to stand to slump back down. "Do not be frightened, my son," said Naphtali. His voice was smooth and calm. "This is my sister Lolita. In a few days, when you are better, we will go back to the river, to the water. I promise. But for now, you must rest." Naphtali looked at Lolita, whose eyes were round and so lemon. He nodded toward the bucket. "Bring some water to the wagon so I can clean him. Then, before we leave, we can flip it with fresh water for him to drink." Lolita reached the bucket and rushed to the wagon and back. While Naphtali wiped them both from Swan's body, Lolita struck his head down as if he were a baby. The bird closed his eyes. Do not worry," she said. We are here now, and we will take care of you, poor thing, poor thing." Every day for 2 weeks, Naphtali and Lolita came to curate this one. Lolita bought the fresh water and rearranged the blanket to create a soft nest. Naphtali cleaned up the worms fed by the tiny bowls of bread and encouraged the bird to stand and walk, and even he thought it was take a few steps before the collapsing. And when the house wound healed enough, Naphtali kept his promise. Finally, the day came. Naphtali carried the swan toward the lagoon. Lolita walked beside him frankly. "Is he safe? Go slow, Naphtali, careful." When they reached the blankets of ash, Naphtali lowered the swan to the ground. "Now what?" asked Lolita. "We must remind him of the home is in the lagoon." He stood up the swan and carefully lifted the bill of the water. Then Naphtali let go for him. For a moment, the swan stayed on his round face, but he was not listening to the words sinking. Lolita screamed, "Naphtali, do something!" Naphtali looked at the swan and he turned into his arms. He fell down on the bank, sat up, and cried against the chest. "What is the matter, Mr. Swan?" Lolita sat down next to him. "Maybe he feel better if your tent is you can see." Naphtali said with a tiny smile, calling the time through the window for him. He looked at the lagoon. "I see seagulls standing like soldiers in the sand. In the river, hundreds of flamingos raised their colored bricks. Now they are running and ripping to the wind. Look at them. They form one gigantic creature in the sky. A bird of 1,000 wings. What color are they, you ask? The color of the baby's cheek. There is one more. I see cleft at 2 sides of the line, and two clouds and ran a lazy race. Which one will win? I cannot tell." Rita looked out to the river like too. Slowly there was the rest of the swans. The hunters might have called to frighten them anyway. Then our swans get stronger. We will take them on the spots, maybe to take a buddy. There are many swans there. Rita put her hands together in prayer. We must get better. But even as Ray another week of the devoted attention to swans to make with little progress. He seems to not greater rigor and more disciplined. On the one day, he marked the scenes with proud swan, the slowly waited on top of the hill, led to the dry air from the morning swim. She finally ran up to him. "I cannot go with you today. My mother says I must go to the visit to someone with a girl my age. But I don't want to go right now. I want to go with you." "It is alright, Rita." She wasn't one tonight when didn't want this to make a difference. There was a fish left over dinner in his lunch. I hid it near the back door in some paper. Maybe he would like it, but he was only given a teeny tiny beans. bites. Don't forget to fetch water for him, and then make sure to the shake blanket and arrange for it around him like I do. And Naftali put his hand in his arm. Lorita, I promise to do everything. Then he hurried away, leaving her wrinkled down to my hands with worry. When Naftali reached the cottage, the swan lifted her hand and made a short, peaceful bleat. You greet me today, Mr. Swan, said Naftali. I hope there is a good sign. Yet again, she caught her and swam to the water, and it was weak bird had holding off the bank as he wanted to rest. Naftali lifted him back to the arm. Do not worry, my swan. Tomorrow is the another day. Hurry up this way. You will let the fish loaded to sense you. It will make the meal stronger. She was sad not to come today, but I am sure she will be back tomorrow, and she can bring more fish. No, it's no trouble. When you feel a little better, then you can swim in the lagoon again. I'll help you. You'll see. Naftali slowed. You feel heavier today. Maybe you're gaining weight. What would be a more good sign to Wilbur for? Wilbur almost had catch it when over and everything alerted that intruder. What is above the nose too? Above him was filled circles that stormed the ocean and grew smaller and smaller. Where are they handled, my friend? Can you tell me what it was so falling over the water? The cool one gusset. The seagrass whispered. Then Naftali was short, and then another, almost there. She felt familiar coolness on his arm. Yes, rest your head, my friend. Rest your head. The swan's silky neck unfurled, and the life disappeared from his body. Naftali kept walking, his arms aching, tears brimmed in his eyes, and spilled over. He trembled. No, not today. Not any today, she whimpered. I was reaching the porch to the step. How long you taken the red cottage? A minute, a month, a year. It was only the sunset, and Lorita and my mother found him there, still stroking the stone. Lorita went to find him, sad in his eye, but he pulled her off the shoulder and began to cry. The soldier looked up at my madra. It is not true. It is not true. This maid was killed, but aren't you beaten? We took care of him, but today, my mother sat on the other side of Naftali. With her hands, she wiped her tears. I know. When you did not come home, Rodita told me, there was only the big moves that you have done. You have much injured from the inside too. He's once old, but he still seems so sad. My mother put his arm down the Naftali's shoulder. Once you're deceiving, maybe his pains will from something else. I swam this amount of swans on the people and near on the people. The solid bird is his eyes and swan's feathers. Lorita hiccuped through his tears. My mother stood, took off his skull and spread out to the ground. When the strength Naftali did not know he had, my mother lifted Swan from his arms, tenderly laid them on the skull, folded the fabric over his body. I will come back with you tomorrow, then she will bury your friend. Can you think of good spy? Naftali nodded. In the puppies, my mother pulled Naftali into the lap and rocked him, just as she rocked the swan. By the time they left the cottage, the sun had disappeared. As they walked home, Naftali held hands to my mother and Lorita. It was another struggle to finally reach the edge of the door. And Father's shadow's figure removed the lights of window. Naftali forced them back on vulture. Father will be upset. It was not my fault. My mother rose from the front from the bushes, was in the head of Naftali's shoulder and one of the Loritas. I'll say that the Lorita for the walk. Their massive and with you, and lagoons were so beautiful, decided to stay until sunset. That is why we are so late. My mother looked from the Naftali to Lorita. When we go to the house, go straight from the bathroom and tell Father you'll both enjoy it to join us. Why don't we bring you later when you understand? Naftali reached back and held my mother's night. He wanted to tell her how much he loved her. He wanted to tell her he was sorry for being angry with her and not talking to her, but he felt overwhelming emotions to go the way of his words. "There now, let's go inside," she said. But Naftali wasn't ready to go. Let her go. He was needed more moment. He whimpered over his ear. "It's not true what I say, and what is true, my son?" He cheered back his cheek. "Swans do not sing when they die. Do not sing when they die. Summer dreamed. Within a few weeks, and the yellow sun changed to gold and shadows lengthened. But the everlasting waves stayed in the same, rushing and sucking by to the sea. The soul said goodbye to a ghost, so packed away from all of his summer treasures and stayed closer to the summer house. He read books, read roads everywhere, one fence posts and bleached driftwood, and one and on the old boots near the shore. On the last day of Parito Severnda, father stood in the bench with his arms closed. Naftali and Lorita stood in front of him, their fingers entwined. "Edwin, you have not tried hard enough." Naftali, over his entire summer, he had the most friends inside is stronger. "He has a grown taller, that is all," said the mother, "and Joseph have a healthy colored face in the face." Father ran his hand to the little bird and staring at Naftali. "Oh, fullness, you are still obsessive. You have not changed everyone bit, have you?" Naftali showed his back and we called, "I'm better with swim," with the Lorita. "Looking for most of the chickens, and let's go over him," and you go. Naftali took Lorita full and stepped into the water. His stomach circled, his fear intense as it would be the first day of the summer. How could he love play so much and hate it at the same time? How could the water feel as a warm part of something deep inside of him at the same time with so foreign? The water roses of changed the thoughts each wave. Thoughts of drowning great could have down with a panic. But when he lost his food, he did not sink. He kicked his face, struck his arm, and pulled Lorita through the kick with another. "Kick your leg, Lorita, and push your water with your arm." Darting the full of beans of the waist and trolled to the sand again and looked up. His eyes burrowed, and he battled to the shade, and beyond his walls and unlikely Garita appeared from the belt that filled the ship as a bulbing of water, and the bunch of people in the world struggling waving 2 swans and swung and tugging. A scout with the happily castaway firing on the wheels of the boat without care of the book, and the robot filled with a radiant purpose. Then the next day was crushed, and Naftali leaned back to it, pulling Lorita with him. When he searched for a floating pirate, but she not only blankets of puppets and sting out the blood surface. Further, I read talk about coming to the pirate for the woods next summer and next year after that. Naftali did not want to think about how much he would want to swim the way he was older. She was not able to push him down, and searching with Naftali's Lorita's hands, and disappointed to the white water he held and breast and knife himself. Filled in the strange borders and impregnated beneath the current and full. Renticle, he launched over Lorita and scoping his arms, and let Naftali shoot, but he was not afraid. It this time trembled for the teeth grinding anger. Father was wrong. He should change. The soldier making behind him could be better the purpose as every day, but every day he was never to the ocean again, and no matter what did. The soldier follows love with ocean sound. He loved it what love should livers. He loved the smell that taste of salt air. But that was enough. Holding Lorita tight, he made his way to shore. Father shook his hands, disgusted, and waved over the wall toward the house. My mother wrecked out the Lorita blanket and holding their way to prepare the long to come. Without them here, Natalda wrinkles. He was fond of stricken that folded more the giant words of sunshine. Natalda forged the back and was stirred with the pedicle over the overture and his whistle on to listen and ocean self in the applause. He bowed. He was ultimately now was applauded. Father's would whistle for this and then was wholly straight away from a bitch. A wild cold circle aside, he picked it up, and it smelled pearly gray and flat, and shone was like a perfect art. Nothing you could find as almost so unique, and if Solly slipped over to his pocket, and his gold was still 2 weeks. Maybe he'll go make a courage fence maybe to Blanska. Then he burned to the top of the hill and looked down. The way started his hand, and little by little, it wants to fall to sound of went. We over the lakes and the dobbers and abandoned the trickle first end. I am poetry, starring the dreamer, ever present, captured by the spirit that enslaved by Reverend's pen and become to the breath of the water's only road. Thank you for listening everyone today. The Dreamer by Palmer's Ryan and Peter Says.